Over the past few days, we have been touring around the desolate wasteland that has become the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And well, now that we are a week on from its release, we might as well come back to the bell that brought us to the ball, and that would be the Marvels. And well, here's the thing, man. Like, I could have been running down all the different news that is coming out about this film, okay? Especially the people that are out there. Oh, yes. Oh, no, the reason that it bombed at the opening weekend is because of the actors and the strike. They couldn't be out there at this time. The actors are out there right now, okay? Brie Larson, what's her name there? Iman Vellani, Ms. Marvel, you know, the likable one. They're out there on the talk show circuit, and is it boring out? Is it actually turning into receipts at the box office? I think you already know where we're going with this, so before I spoil the reveal, obviously, no, they're out there. They are out there. Everybody has all of their excuses, okay? But when it's all said and done, word of mouth would have contributed to redeeming the abysmal opening weekend, the record-breaking opening weekend. Like I said, okay, I could have been covering all of that stuff. The late-night talk show appearances, okay? The daytime talk show appearances. Not a whole lot of meat on those bones, but also could have been talking about what Nia DaCosta has been saying, blaming everybody except for herself for making an abysmal piece of garbage that got slopped into theaters. But with my channel, I aim to educate, inform, entertain even. I'm not here to read the obituaries, because that's what these dailies end up looking like. The last time we spoke about this, obviously, we didn't have that boisterous $6.6 million that it made in previews, which is the lowest that has ever been done by Marvel in the time that there were actual previews. But the $21 million, the 15, and then the $9 million, the $46.1 million opening thud weekend was followed up with a record-setting low Monday, $2.3 million. Remember talking about that. But then, of course, there's another record that's out there, the lowest ever. You could even take a look at historical examples on this one, not even adjusted for inflation. You got Blade, the original Blade. It ended up doing something like $1.4 million. Okay, even the biggest bomb so far this year, The Flash, did over $2.5 million on the first Thursday out. And this one right here, $1.2 million. Guys, it's over. I can't wait. We'll do all of that post-mortem stuff on Sunday because, well, when the chickens finally do come home to roost, we are sitting right now, right before the second weekend out there, before all the big competition kicks off, $117 million against the north of $300 million production budget, north of $100 and some odd million for a marketing budget. This thing is going to end up costing Walt Disney hundreds of millions of dollars when it's all said and done. Is it even going to hit? If there is anything, if we're talking about this on Sunday and the worldwide gross for the second weekend out is anywhere in the realm where it's tracking somewhere between a 60 and 70% drop. If there is a 4 in that grand total that it drags in, this thing isn't even going to come close to $200 million, which I thought my lowest expectations was $250 million. I never thought that we'd be flirting with a film of Marvel, a $300 million Marvel production, not even making $200 million. We're living in that reality right now, guys, okay? And right now, like I said, okay, last week, it was just a wide open highway, and they just decided to steer directly into the ditch. What do you expect? You got 3 women in charge, and you're driving a car? Come on, that was the most likely of results. But now that there's competition in the box office, and guess what, guys, there's also another big budget film that's going to be coming out in 2 weeks time, Wish, Disney's final offering of the year, and we'll still be talking about that because that's once again anticipated to bomb, just like little Rachel Zegler, right, guys? She's got the brand new Hunger Games prequel that's out, and well, it's also breaking records just like the Marvels. The new film becomes the worst rated in franchise history. What are you you talking about? No, come on, guys. It has nothing to do with her performance, right? Ahead of her debut, and director Mark Webb's Snow White reboot, lead actress Rachel Zegler is gearing up for the premiere of her latest outing, The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. The movie, which serves as a prequel to Jennifer Lawrence, the first woman ever to do literally anything, by the way. Okay, make sure that you give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jennifer Lawrence next week if you're celebrating Thanksgiving. After all, of course, you know, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Lawrence. The movie, which serves as a prequel to the Jennifer Lawrence-fronted Hunger Games quadrilogy, certainly has some high expectations to live up to. Well, guess what? Okay, the Disney controversy aside, Zegler is set to star in another major franchise, The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that basically is kind of a bait and switch, even by its marketing, okay? Don't know if this was done in edit or anything like that, but it's all apparently supposed to surround, okay, and all of the plot centers around setting up this Cornelius Snow, who ends up getting played by the super Chad Donald Sutherland. I'm a little partial, of course, but trying to give an origin story to a, completely and totally irredeemable villain. Wow, are you sure this isn't also a Disney production? But ahead of its release, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is already setting a new record for the franchise. Rotten Tomatoes recently unveiled the film's critic score to just be 61%. Weird. Is there another bomb that came out on Rotten Tomatoes that also, just ahead of its release, ended up topping out at a 61%? Just barely fresh. Weird. It must be a coincidence, I'm sure. Or they're both of equal quality. With 71 reviews, this rating is likely to fluctuate, but at the moment it's officially the lowest rated movie in the franchise. But that's right now, okay? General audiences haven't been out there to go and see it. You know what? Maybe the people, once they go into the theaters, they'll have a different takeaway from this, and it looks like, nope, because it's tracking even further behind the Marvels. Nobody wants to see Rachel Zegler. For as much as Hollywood wants to make her the next it girl, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take a line from Stone Cold Steve Austin's son. She wants to be the it girl, what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put an S in front of that to give you a real piece of my mind when I think about Rachel Zegler, what? The Ballad of Songbirds? That's not a thing. Songbirds and Snakes makes $5.75 million in previews. I don't know if Variety thinks that's a good thing or not, but we'll see what the mass media has to say about this before we have the proper comparisons. Welcome back to the Hunger Games, and the box office odds be for... that's that shit line that comes from this shit franchise. Okay, that makes sense. The latest movie in the Lionsgate YA action franchise. It's for young. It's not made for you. I don't care what some white guy has to say about a movie that's not made for you. Oh, right. Wrong star of fated franchise, right? The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes has made $5.75 million in previews at the box office. The prequel expected to make around $50 million as debut weekend, with some predictions as high as $60 million and some lower at $45 million. Wow, doesn't this sound too goddamn familiar? Doesn't this sound like a one-to-one comparison with the Marvels, which, yeah, here we have bounding into comics once again. They're making some upgrades to their sites, it looks like, but still, you have the goofy-ass fucking bar that's just right there ruining everybody's experience. Stop, you're spilling it. Variety reports that Zegler's The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes only grossed $5.75 million in previews on Thursday night. That's nearly $1 million less, about $850,000 less, actually. And what Brie Larson and the Marvels did. The film grossed $6.6 million at Thursday night previews just about a week ago. Interestingly, Songbirds and Snakes. I'm not going to fucking read out the rest of this shit, okay? It's abysmal already. Was projected to have a better opening weekend than the Marvels, but then they're like, for fuck's another female-led franchise that's just going to die on the vine. For fuck's sake, stop calling us misogynists. No, we're just fucking realists. Box Office Pro adjusted their projections upward this week, claiming the film would gross between $42 and $55 million, and specifically predicting that it would bring in $47.1 million at the domestic box office. Wow, that is a 1-for-1. What was originally reported on Sunday that the Marvels did on its opening weekend, and then when the actuals came in, you had to go ahead and take $1 million off of that. In contrast, the outlet had just adjusted their projections for the Marvels to go down between $35 and $49 million right before the film arrived in theaters. Yo, that's what's anticipated, huh? So it is going to have, that shit, if that ends up being true, if the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I understand, it's not made for me, okay, it's supposed to be for a bunch of sad, lonely, depressed women who have more SSRIs than personality traits that they take on a daily basis, okay? It's more centered towards them. That's a group that's likely to turn out for the film because that's actually made for them instead of the Marvels that got co-opted. It's a guy's brand, okay? Superheroes are made for guys. Of course, you're going to have a female audience that's there. There are females that like Star Wars. They like more action-based films. But when you start to make them for that audience, when you're trying to attract that female dollar, which 80% of consumer decisions are made by women, 75% of the debt is held by women. So of course, big companies are going to try to target that demographic. But when you try to make those changes, because then you have those stupid suits sitting around a boardroom table going, how are we going to get the bitches in the seats? Okay, they like the thing the way that it was. They became fans of Star Wars because of Han, Luke, and Leia. They became fans of the MCU because of Tony Stark, because of Captain America, not for Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. I could see myself as that, okay? All of these identity politics, representation shit. Have you ever noticed? You guys notice, see what's going on out there? You ever notice how many black guys really love Dragon Ball Z? Okay? And they're not all fucking Mr. Popo fans, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and, give it to you straight on that one. Black guys love anime. Not a lot of representation to be found there. Me personally, I love 90s, early 2000s gangster rap. As you can see, outside of a quarter red bone, about as white as the driven snow, a little bit more so than Rachel Zegler. Representation doesn't mean shit. Whenever you hear some dumbass to just chant that, representation in media is important, just ask them to dig a little bit deeper, because you're going to end up short-circuiting their NPC programming, because guess what? Representation does matter if you're doing adaptive stories. Represent what the fuck was written. Represent what the fuck made the character popular to begin with, what made your franchise function. Otherwise, you're going to end up like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and like the Marvels. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.